Talk to me about the training. I don't think most people understand the training you have to do as a driver, even like the Indy guys, like the G-forces, the length. I mean, what's an Indy car race? It's hours, right?
Yeah, it's 500 miles doing, well, if there was no yellows, so you don't have to slow down, 230 miles an hour, it's going to be just over 2 hours.
Right.
But it ends up being about 3 hours with the yellows.
Right. So you're sweating, it's in the heat. You had a race recently where it's going to be 2 hours in the heat, G-forces, stress levels. How do you train for that?
Yeah, you're right. It's difficult, and this is the one thing with motorsport people don't really understand, is they don't understand why we need to be fit, because they think at the end of the day they get in their road car in the morning with their suit on, they put the seatbelt across, start the key, off they go, first gear, and it's not physical. But when you add another 200 miles an hour to that, you're doing it in a cockpit where you can hardly move. You're doing it in a country which is really hot, humid. You've got an engine behind you with brakes that are like 800 degrees and an engine which is at 200 degrees, soaking through to your cockpit. So you're boiling hot. You've got 5 layers of fireproof underwear and overalls on. You've got the concentration of driving. You're in control of this machine. You're not on a computer game where if you crash, you just, click restart and off you go. You're in control of this. You've got the added pressure that you're being watched by a lot of the world. You're also trying your best to perfect things, and all these things put together put your heart rate right up, so you're working really hard, you're sweating a lot. You can sweat 2-3 kilos in a race. And I remember I had a heart rate belt on for the Singapore Grand Prix, which realistically is why every driver in Formula 1 trains. Yes, a lot of the races are hard, but the Singapore Grand Prix is the hardest one. Everyone would admit that. And so that's humid. Why everyone trains. It's hot, it's humid, it's a street race, so the average speed is slower, so it takes longer to do the distance. So the race is always 2 hours, basically. It's in a city, so it's weird. Even you wouldn't think it makes a difference, but in a city where the walls are concrete walls, there's no sort of fresh air. Whatever air you get is hot, and it is just the hardest race. You get out and you're absolutely depleted. And when you get out of the car after most races, everyone is trying to play it cool. They wipe the sweat off their face and go onto the weighing scales, chat to your fitness trainer, and off you go back to meet the team. And they're trying to play it cool. After the Singapore Grand Prix, no one gives a flying what's it. They're just on the floor pouring water over them, trying to soak up as much energy as they can, because it just exhausts you.
When you're 90 minutes into that race, do you get into a zone in your head where you're just kind of meditating or so focused that you can try to forget about some of that stuff?
I'm not really one for meditating, but I've always been a bit sort of sort of a bit blind to the fact that sports psychologists work. I should have started them younger, but what I learned is it's not them trying to hypnotize you and putting you into this place which doesn't really exist. It's more a method of being organized and being, routine. The best racing driver might not necessarily be the quickest on each lap, every lap. It will be, well, I'll say that again. It's not necessarily he can put a quick time in, but then a slow time. It's being consistently fast. So if it's a 50-lap Grand Prix, he can try and mirror image that lap every single time and not make a mistake. Whilst you have other cars around you, it might start raining and each corner has different grip levels. That's the hardest thing. And with a sports psychologist, they can put you into a place where you have sort of resets. And I started using one and it made a difference. And I had a place, not always the start-finish line, but most of the time I'd come across the start-finish line and I'd forget everything I've just done and then do it again. And it was like a reset point. And it made things go quicker and it made me more focused. If you just get into a rhythm's good, but if you get into a rhythm, you can very quickly lose concentration. Then, make a mistake in a Formula 1 car, your race is over. And there's certain procedures you can do at the start of the race to get yourself into a relaxed environment and just blank everything out. So there's definitely bonuses to having sports psychologists, which I can see helps other sportsmen.
Okay, but you don't meditate per se.
No.
But you do get yourself into a state before you go in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I try to focus, and I do. It depends what you call meditation. I don't sit there in the morning with my legs crossed going. I can shut my eyes and lie in bed and try and replicate a lap. If I'm racing at Spa in Belgium in a week's time, I'll wake up every morning, shut my eyes, try and image me braking, doing the gears, turning in each corner. And if I do this 10 times every morning for a week, I can guarantee if you timed me on one of my laps when I wake up on like a Friday, I will be within a second of the lap I'm going to do. It takes a bit of practice, but you can pretty much mirror image the lap in your head.
So you can rehearse that thing in real time in your head.
And that goes back to helping what I said earlier. Motorsport's a very weird thing for actually having a chance to practice what you do. And so this way, you make the most of being rehearsed, organised and prepared to get in the car and then do it. Instead of getting in the car, doing 10 laps, trying to learn where to turn and do your brakes, do your gears. You now do it on a simulator, try and perfect it there. Then you come away from the simulator, try and practice it in your head so it's there. And then when you get in the car, your body can do it straight away, first lap, instead of waiting 10 laps to learn it all.
Right. Sounds like Hollywood. Sounds like making a movie. You like practice, and then the day of, you got one take.
Yeah, practice makes perfect. Everyone knows that. There's one guy out there that says 10,000 hours it takes to be the ultimate sportsman. You've probably heard that before.
Yeah. Do you believe that?
In motorsport, that's impossible. I don't think there's any driver in motorsport that's done 10,000 in the same car, on the same track. The thing is, we have different tracks. It's not like going on a tennis court, which is exactly the same size. We're going on tracks which are just so different lengths, different corners, different, hills, and it's so much to throw in the boat with motorsport. It's impossible to be 10,000 hours practiced.
Right. So just go with the time you have, meditate in the other times.
Make the most of what you have, and then take that up and put it into the car.
To watch the rest of this fascinating interview, click on the link below and go to londonrealacademy.com. There you can sign in with your social media, log in and watch the rest of the episode for free, along with all of our episodes on London Real, my webinars, and all of our premium content, all located over at londonrealacademy.com. So click on the link below, you'll be directed there and you can watch the rest of this fascinating interview, and I'll see you there.